again. So we have discussed the model number 4 with multiple mediators, and we are discussing about how model number 5 with multiple mediators and a moderators can be applied. So if we have one or more mediators and we need to apply and we need to include a moderator in our model, so how can we apply it? And you need to understand that the model number 4 allows up to 10 mediators operating in parallel. So you can include 10 mediators, up to 10 mediators, but you are using only one moderator here. So in order to exemplify this process, you need to understand the following scenario. I am using the same data set, the example final data set for model number 5, and let we have the following combination of variable. Our dependent variable is project success, which is a continuous variable. Our short duration training is independent variable, which is a continuous variable. Our mediator one is optimized scheduling, which is a continuous variable. Our mediator 2 is flexible scheduling, which is a continuous variable. Our moderator is effective scheduling, which is a continuous variable. So in order to exemplify model number 5, I have taken two mediator, while the model number 5 give you the option that you can use up to 10 mediators in that model. But for the purpose of explaining this concept, I am using only two mediators. So we have two mediators, one moderator, one independent variable, and one dependent variable. So what we want to know here uh, is the impact of short duration training on project success is significantly mediated by optimized scheduling and flexible scheduling and moderated by effective scheduling. So I would like to know whether the impact of independent variable on dependent variable is mediated by OS and FS and moderate. I am sharing again the screen. There was a little interruption by the internet. I was discussing that how one moderator and two mediators will respond here as a model number 5. And I was letting you know that we might have an independent variable, and we might have a dependent variable, which is PS, and we might be interested in measuring the impact of SDT on OS and SDT on FS. So in this case, you can see we can measure the impact directly or indirectly using SGT, OS, and PS. And in the same way, we can measure the impact of SGT on FS and FS on PS through direct and indirect way. So this is the combination. This is the same combination that we used in the previous example. So what's new here? The new thing is here that we are having a moderator in our model this time. So we want to see whether the role of moderator like ES basically effective scheduling, can this moderate the impact of SGT on PS? So this is basically the concern of model number 5. So whenever you have mediations and you have moderation also, which is impacting the impact of independent variable on the dependent variable, you are referring to model number 5. So how does it applies? It applies in the same way. You go to the analysis, you go to the analyze, you go to the regression, then you go to the process, Andrew F. Hayes, you click it, and then what you do next, you put your variable in your relevant boxes, like you need to put your dependent variable in the y variable list, you need to put your independent variable in the x variable list, and then you need to put your mediators, which is optimized scheduling and flexible scheduling, and then you need to put your moderator in your moderator variable w box, and you need to select model number 5 from here, because we are dealing with mediator as well as moderator. But if we have mediators only, we need to click on model number 4. But as This model comprise mediator as well as moderator. So we need to use model number 5. Then we need to click option button. From here, we need to click generate code for visualizing interaction. As the moderator is involved over here, so we need to select the third option from mean center for construction of product, only continuous variable that define product. So it is basically for moderation purpose. Then you need to select the second option. Whenever we are using moderation in our model, we need to check -1 st and mean +1 st. We need to check Johnson Neyman output also, because a moderation is involved here. So you need to click continue with these settings, uh, and you can see here the results. But before doing this, I would like to show you the live demo, that how this process applies to you. Just need to go in your data set, you need to go to the analyze regression, the process by Hayes. You need to put your dependent variable over here. You need to put your independent variable over here. You need to put your mediators. Let me see, is I am using the same mediators. Mediator are OS and FS. OS and FS are the mediator. OS and FS. Yes. Now I need to use the ES as a moderator. This is ES, and I need to use this. I need to select model number 5 from here. I need to go options. I need to uncheck the earlier parts, and I need to click the generate code for visualizing interaction. I need to choose only continuous variable that define product. In case when we are using a moderating variable over here, we need to select -1 SD mean +1 SD and Johnson Neyman output here. We need to click continue. We need to click OK button, and it will take some time. The results will appear. You can see here the results within a couple of seconds. So just wait, and we will explain how the results are analyzed and how the results are interpreted. So you can see the result over here. You can see the model number, the dependent, the independent, the mediators, the moderator, and your outcome variable results. You can see at first the first outcome variable is OS. If we can analyze over here, the first outcome variable for the purpose of impact for SGT is OS. Then for FS, again SGT impacting FS. So in case we are considering PS, it is impacted by 1, 2, 3, and this is the moderator. It is also considered as a impact. So there are 4 variable impacting PS, and there is 1 variable impacting OS, and there is 1 variable which is impacting SGT. So we can see the results over here. So these results I have included in my slides, so I can show you clearly how these results are basically analyzed. So you can see over here. Just a minute. We need to open the pointer option. So you can see that it is a model number 5. Our dependent variable is project scheduling, which is denoted by PS. Our independent variable is SDT, which is short duration training. Our first mediator is OS, our second mediator is FS, and our moderator is ES. So there are 456 number of observation over here. At first, we need to see the OS as a dependent variable. It is impacted by SDT, and you can see that the impact of SDT on OS is significant. It is highly significant with with the coefficient value is 0.8558. The R square is 74.32. It means that the variation in OS is 74.32% explained by STT, and the model is statistically fit. So this is how you can interpret your A1. If we can see A1 from here, we have basically interpreted our first relationship A1. we have interpreted this A1. You can see over here, we have interpreted the impact of SDT on OS by considering the OS as a output variable. So the what was the value of A1? The value of A1 was 0.85. So we have calculated. In the next phase, we will calculate the impact of SDT on FS in the form of A2. Then we will find out how PS is impacted by OS, SDT, FS, and the moderating one. So we need to see the values of all of those variables. We have interpreted this one, and we need to see this also. You can see here that is the second mediating variable FS, which is flexible scheduling. You can see SDT is positively impacting and it is highly significant. It means SDT is impacting FS uh, highly significant, and you can also see that the variation in FS is 0.7968% due to SDT. The model is statistically fit. So this is basically A2. The graph, in case of the graph, the value of A2 is 0.7823. So you can see in the graph, the value is 0.7823. Here is the graph, and this is A2. So it's indicate how SDT is impacting FS. So this one, this A2 is basically your second result. So this was A2, which was showing the impact of SDT on FS. So next we can see the other also. So in this table, you can also see that PS is impacting by SDT, OS, FS, ES, and interaction term. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 things are there which are impacting the PS. If we can see from the graph, we can verify whether there are 5 things that are impacting the PS. You can see over here. Yes. I need to explain here more clearly. You can see that PS, the direction of error towards the PS, there is OS which is impacting PS, there is FS which is impacting PS, there is SDT which is impacting PS, and there is ES which is also impacting PS. Then the interaction of ES and SDT is also impacting the PS. If you can see the basic graph of it, which I have explained you earlier. I have told you that in this graph, if you can see the statistical graph, you can see over here that whenever you have some moderating variable, the moderating variable, it impacts the dependent variable, as well as the interaction term of the moderating and independent variable is also impacts the dependent variable. So in our case, the same is the scenario with our results. So if we go to the results, if we go towards the result, we can see also here that which variable is impacting our dependent variable. So our dependent variable is impacted by SDT with the positive coefficient and statistically significant, then OS with positive coefficient and statistically significant, then FS with positive coefficient and statistically significant, then ES with positive and statistically significant. Then we can see the moderating impact or interaction term effect, and the minus sign indicates that the impact of SDT on PS is basically is decreasing. The moderator is decreasing the impact of SDT on PS because the moderator changes the impact of independent variable on dependent variable. So minus sign means the interaction term, or due to interaction term, the impact of SGT on PS is basically decreasing. But if there is a positive sign over here, which is statistically significant, it means uh, the moderating impact of SGT on PS will increase due to moderation. So here the interaction impact is also significant because it is less than 0.05. And you can also see the R square. So we can conclude here that PS is explained 90.76% due to SGT, due to OS, FS, ES, and interaction term. So this is how you can interpret your values over here. Now we need to see how our moderation having some effect size. So negative means that um, it is at lower level, and the positive mean it is at higher level. So at lower level, the moderator ES is giving a higher impact, while at higher level it is giving the lower impact. So you can see that minus, with the minus sign, the ES is giving 0.3943 value as a moderator. It is basically the effect size. So you can see with the positive value, it is giving smaller effect, which is 0.31 as compared to the higher impact. Both the impacts are significant. And we can also see that at each level of our impact, the moderator is significant. So we don't need to worry about these values. These are Johnson-Neyman method values. So we need to see at the last, we need to see the indirect impact, which is mediating impact in our model. We need to see how our mediators has impacted on our model. We can see over here the indirect effect. The OS is impacting, then FS is impacting, both are impacting positively, and you can see their uh, uh, upper level confidence interval and lower level confidence interval, and you can see there is no zero between them, and there is no negative value of any level between them. And if you are not sure whether the mediation impact are significant and or not, you simply can divide the coefficient value or effect value by their boot standard error. So we can check here how these values are. We can open the same graph, and we can put the values from here, like for OS, the beta value is, just a minute, the beta value is 0.1421 for my mediator first, which is OS. You can put here the value, and you can put the standard error of this value here, and you can find the t value, which is 4.048. It is greater than 1.96. So it means the first mediator is basically significantly mediating the impact of your independent variable on dependent variable. In the same way, you can check the t value of your second mediator. You need to put this on your Excel sheet. You need to get the standard error from here. So you can put here in your Excel sheet, and you can find the t value, which is 7.56. So both t values are greater than 1.96. So we can conclude that OS and FS are significantly mediating. And we can also conclude from our previous tables that interaction term is also significantly moderating the relationship between SGT and PS. So and it is decreasing the impact. So this is how you can interpret the whole scenarios like this. So if you have any question, you may ask from here. if you are unsure how the values were determined. So we have concluded that this model indirect with indirect relationship and with moderating relationship all are significant. So if you have any question, you may ask or we can proceed further. Please let me know. If you have any question relevant to this example, you can ask in the chat box. You may ask the question. If you do not have any question, then we can move towards the next level, which is basically the serial mediation, which is the next level, which is the second last part of today's session. And it also comprise of some of the cases that will take time. So we need more time to complete the session for Hayes process. So if you have any question, you may ask or we can proceed further. I think you do not have any question. So we can proceed further towards our next level, which is basically serial mediation. So you need to understand what is serial mediation. It is also known as sequential mediation. So at first, you need to understand how serial mediation basically applies, and what is the concept of serial mediation or sequential mediation. So you need to understand the basics. After understanding the basic, you would be able to apply it through process by Hayes. Sequential or serial mediation analysis is an extension of traditional mediation analysis that explores a series of mediator or intermediate variables in a consecutive order. Instead of just one mediator, it examines the multiple mediator that act in a sequence, each potentially influencing the next, leading to final outcome. So when there are a lot of mediator in between the relationship between IV and DV, and they are they are creating a sequence between them, you can apply that model as a serial mediation analysis. In simpler term, it investigate how the influence of IV on DV is transmitted through a series of steps, with each step represented by different mediators. So let discuss two serial mediators case. We need to apply model number 6 if we have two serial mediators. You can see that we can check the impact on first mediator, then from first mediator to our dependent variable, then we can check the impact of our independent variable on our second mediator, and then from second mediator to dependent variable, and then we can also check the impact between first mediator and the second mediator. That is the addition from the previous model. In the previous model, we were checking the impact from independent variable to our basically from our independent variable to our dependent variable. But in this case, we are checking the relationship between the mediators also. You can see this graph or this diagram. You can see I have connected the independent variable with mediator, and from mediator to dependent variable. Again, connected the mediator to sorry. Again, I connected the independent to mediator and mediator to PS, but I didn't connected the OS with FS. So whenever you are connecting your mediators also with each other, you are dealing with the serial mediations. So in this case that we are referring right now, it is the case of when we are also connecting our mediators variable with each other. So in that case, we need to connect independent variable with first mediator, and we will be having a1 as a coefficient value. Then we will be connecting our independent variable with second mediator, and we would have a2 as a second coefficient value. Then we may be connecting our first mediator with our dependent variable, and we would be having a coefficient value of b1. then we will be connecting M2 and with our dependent variable, and we will be having a B2 as a coefficient value. And then we will connect our first mediator with our second mediator, and we would be having a D value. So in this case, we are going to use model number 6, which allows up to 4 mediator operating in serial. So you can use up to 4 mediator. You can connect the 4 mediator between your independent and dependent variable if you are going to use serial mediation. So how can this concept be applied? Let's take an example. I need to show you also the 3 mediator case. You can see here how these are connected. So like M1, M2, and M3, they are connected, and M1 and M3, they are connected. So mediators are connected with each other along with independent and dependent variables. So this is the idea of serial mediation. You can include up to 4 mediators in case of model 6. So how this idea is applied? So before understanding more deeply the sequential mediation analysis, you need to understand uh, its idea, why it is important, why we need to apply, what is the purpose of sequential mediation analysis. So uncovering complex process. When you have a complex process, sequential mediation allows researcher to unravel complex process by identifying a chain of events through which an initial influence is transmitted. This is valuable when understanding the step-by-step mechanisms involved in a phenomena. In the same way, you can see you want to examine cumulative effect. It helps in assessing the cumulative effect of multiple variable. It means mediators acting in a sequence. Each mediator contribute to the overall explanation of the relationship between the predictor and the outcome. Predictor mean your independent variable, and outcome means your dependent variable. So when there are more than one mediators are involved and they are connected, they basically cumulate the mediating effect and will measure the relationship between independent and dependent variable in a cumulative affecting way. Insight into the causal pathway. Researcher gain insight into the specific causal pathway that link variable. This is particularly useful for building more detailed and nuanced theoretical models. If the model is basically new, or you are going to develop a theoretical model, or you are basically generating a theoretical model, or a model is in his initial stage, in its initial stage, and you are going to develop a model, this sequential mediation analysis would also help you in generating the theory. uh, Practical application. Understanding sequential mediation can inform interventions or strategies. For example, if a program aims to improve academic performance, knowing the sequential mediator involved can guide the development of targeted intervention. So you can find out which mediator is uh, uh, basically can explain the impact of some independent variable on two dependent variable, or whether your sequential variable can have an impact between the relationship of IV and DV. Uh, the last but not the least, refining theoretical models. It contributes to the refinement and development of theoretical models by providing empirical evidence for the sequence of events proposed in a theoretical model. So how we can analyze the sequential mediation analysis, or how can we analyze the situation involving sequential mediation analysis? So this is very important for you people to understand. For sequential mediation analysis, consider a study investigating the relationship between a new teaching method and student academic performance. The study proposes a sequence of mediator, for example, engagement with course material, motivation, and study habits. These are the three mediators that the researcher has proposed in order to see, or in order to explain the impact of teaching method on student academic performance. So the teaching method influences the engagement with course material. Engagement in terms affect the motivation. Motivation then influences the student study habits. Finally, the study habits impact the academic performance. So this is how the sequence works when you have some um, uh, uh, when you have some sequential mediators. So this is how the sequence works. Sequential mediation analysis would explore and quantify each step in this process, revealing how the effects are transmitted from one mediator to the next until the final outcome is achieved. Uh, you can understand this more deeply from a number of more examples, like example one, employee well-being in the workplace. Your dependent variable is leadership style. Your mediators are mediator one, perceived organizational support; mediator two, work engagement; mediator three, job satisfaction. Your dependent variable is employee well-being. So in this scenario, the study aims to understand how different leadership style, because leadership style is your independent variable, how different leadership style may influence employee well-being through a series of sequential mediators, starting with the perceived organizational support, which was your first mediator, then work engagement, and then finally job satisfaction. So you need to understand how this connected mediators can influence the impact of leadership style on employee well-being. You can also analyze the situation like this: online learning and academic success. Your independent variable is online learning experience, your dependent variable is academic success, and you may have three mediators like perceived course relevance, engagement in online learning, self-regulation, and study habits. So in this example, the study explored the sequential mediators involved in the relationship between the online learning experience and academic success. It considered perceived course relevance, engagement in the online learning activities, and student self-regulation in study habit. You may have an example on health behavior change program, where your independent variable would be health behavior change program participation. You may have mediator like mediator one, awareness and understanding of health risk, motivation to change behavior, adoption of healthier habits. Then you may have the dependent variable like improved health status. So here the study investigate the process through which individuals who participate in the healthier behavior change program experience improved health. So improved health is basically your dependent variable, while your independent variable is healthier behavior. So how your healthier behavior impact the improved health status, you need to see from a number of mediators like awareness and understanding of health risk, like motivation to change behavior, like adoption of health. So these mediators would explain how your independent variable is impacting your dependent variable. In the same way, last but not the least example, after which we will analyze a real scenario. Example for job training program and career advancement. Your independent variable would be participation in job training program. Your mediators would be mediator one, acquired skills and knowledge; mediator two, increased job performance; mediator three, recognition by supervision; and your dependent variable is career advancement opportunities. So you want to analyze how your participation in job training program impacts the career advancement option, using a number of mediators like acquired skills and knowledge, increase job performance, recognition by supervisors. So here the study investigate the sequential mediation process through which individuals who participate a job training program experience career advancement. The mediator include the acquisition of skills, knowledge, improvement in job performance, and recognition by supervisors, leading to career advancement opportunities. These scenarios illustrate how sequential mediation analysis can be applied to understand the step-by-step process through which various predictor influence complex outcome. So each mediator in this sequence represent the stage in the pathway leading to the final outcome. So I think that you have understand thoroughly how the serial or sequential mediation works. So let's get a real case by example final data set, which is we are already using. So how can we analyze a real situation? Let's suppose we have a dependent variable, which is project success. We have an independent variable, which is short duration training. We have a mediator one, which is optimized scheduling. We may have a mediator two, which is flexible scheduling. And we want to analyze, is the impact of short duration training on project success is significantly and serially mediated by optimized scheduling and flexible scheduling. So these are two mediators. So we want to analyze whether the impact of short duration training on project success is explained by these two mediators in a serial mediation form. So we need to have an independent variable, which is SDT. We need to have a dependent variable, which is PS. We need to have our first mediator. We need to have our second mediator. We need to connect SDT with OS. We need to connect SDT with FS. We need to connect OS with PS. We need to connect FS with PS, and then we need to connect OS with FS. So this is how the serial mediation works. This is how at the last we need to connect the direct impact of SDT on PS. So this is how it works, and we will analyze this situation using the SPSS. So let me tell you that there is less than 1 minute before completing the meeting. You need to join using the same link. Join using the same link again in order to start the meeting. Then we will analyze this situation using SPSS.